We stand at a crossroads in human history where we have more access to comfort, technology, and information than any generation that has ever walked this earth. And yet, the collective pulse of our happiness seems to be flickering at an all-time low. We are told from the moment we can understand language that happiness is a destination, a golden city on a hill that we reach once we have the right degree, the right partner, the right salary, or the right reflection in the mirror. We have been conditioned to live in a perpetual state of if and then. If I get that promotion, then I will be happy. If I lose those 10 pounds, then I will be happy. If I find the love of my life, then my world will finally be complete. But this is the greatest illusion of our modern age. Happiness is not a trophy to be won, nor is it a finish line to be crossed. It is not something that happens to you, it is something you cultivate within you. The secret to happiness does not lie in the accumulation of external things, but in the radical transformation of your internal landscape. When we look for happiness in the world outside, we are building a house on shifting sands. Markets crash, relationships end, bodies age, and circumstances change with the wind. If your joy is tied to these variables, your peace will always be a hostage to fortune. To be truly happy, you must first realize that your mind is the filter through which your entire reality is processed. If the filter is clouded by resentment, comparison, and the constant need for more, no amount of sunshine will ever feel bright enough. The first secret to happiness is the practice of presence. Most of our suffering exists in two places that do not actually exist: the past and the future. We carry the heavy luggage of yesterday's regrets, replaying old conversations and mourning missed opportunities. Or we live in the anxious shadow of tomorrow, worrying about problems that haven't even happened yet. In doing so, we walk right past the only moment where happiness can actually be felt: the now. Happiness is the ability to breathe in the present moment and find something, however small, to be grateful for. It is the realization that this moment, with all its imperfections and its messiness, is a gift. We often mistake excitement or pleasure for happiness, but pleasure is fleeting and depends on external stimuli. True happiness is a quiet, steady undercurrent of peace that remains even when the surface of the water is choppy. It begins with the decision to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the architect of your soul. You have to take responsibility for your emotional state. This doesn't mean you ignore pain or suppress sadness. Those are natural parts of the human experience, but it means you refuse to let them become your permanent residence. You must learn to curate your thoughts with the same care you would use to curate a garden. If you allow the weeds of negativity and the thorns of envy to grow unchecked, they will eventually choke out the flowers of contentment. Comparison is the fastest way to kill joy. We live in a world of curated highlights where we compare our behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's best of reel. We feel inadequate because we aren't living a life that looks like a photograph, forgetting that a photograph has no depth, no breadth, and no soul. Your journey is yours alone, and the secret to happiness is to stop looking at the person in the next lane and start looking at the path beneath your own feet. There is a profound power in the word enough. We are taught that more is the answer to everything, but more is a horizon that recedes the faster you run toward it. Happiness arrives the moment you decide that what you have, who you are, and where you are is enough to begin. It is the shift from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. When you stop focusing on what is missing, you finally gain the clarity to see the mountain of blessings you are already standing on. This isn't just fluffy optimism, it is a psychological necessity. Your brain is wired to look for threats, but you can train it to look for beauty. It takes effort, it takes discipline, and it takes a daily commitment to choose light over darkness. You are the only person who will spend every single second of your life with you. If you are not at peace with yourself, you will never be at peace with the world. Happiness starts with self-compassion. The radical idea that you are worthy of love and joy simply because you exist, not because of what you have achieved. We are so hard on ourselves, speaking to ourselves in ways we would never dream of speaking to a friend. We berate ourselves for our mistakes and belittle our progress. But you cannot shame yourself into a version of yourself that you love. You have to love yourself into a version of yourself that is happy. This means setting boundaries, protecting your energy, and realizing that saying no to things that drain you is a resounding yes to your own well-being. Happiness is found in the simple, overlooked corners of life. It is in the warmth of a morning coffee, the sound of laughter, the feeling of the sun on your skin, and the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. We spend our lives waiting for the big moments, the weddings, the promotions, the vacations. But life is made up of the small moments in between. If you wait for the big moments to be happy, you will spend 99% of your life waiting. The secret is to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. It is to live with such an open heart that even the mundane becomes a miracle. You have to give yourself permission to be happy now, not when everything is perfect, because life will never be perfect. There will always be a bill to pay, a problem to solve, or a heart to mend. Happiness is the courage to be joyful in spite of the imperfections. It is the resilience to keep your internal light burning even when the world outside feels cold. You are the master of your joy, and the key to the kingdom has been in your pocket all along. It is time to stop searching and start arriving. Building upon the realization that happiness begins within the quiet chambers of your own mind, we must now address the profound connection between our joy and the way we move through the world in relation to others. While the spark of contentment is lit internally, it is fanned into a roaring flame through the power of human connection and the spirit of service. We are social creatures, wired for intimacy and belonging. Yet we often try to find happiness in isolation or through the shallow validation of the digital world. The second great secret to a happy life is the cultivation of deep, meaningful relationships and the understanding that your happiness is inextricably linked to the happiness you bring to others. There is a strange paradox in the human experience. The more you obsess over your own happiness, the more it seems to elude you. But the moment you turn your focus toward making someone else's life a little brighter, your own heart begins to glow. This is the law of contribution. When we live only for ourselves, our world becomes very small, and in a small world, every tiny problem feels like a catastrophe. But when we live for something larger than our own ego, our perspective shifts. We realize that we have the power to be a source of strength, a source of kindness, and a source of hope. Happiness is found in the eyes of a friend who feels heard, in the gratitude of a stranger you helped, and in the legacy of kindness you leave behind each day. We must move away from the transactional view of life, where we only give to get, and move toward a transformational view, where giving is its own reward. True joy is found in the absence of the self and the presence of service. This doesn't mean you neglect your own needs, but it means you recognize that your greatest utility and your deepest satisfaction come from being useful to the world. Consider the people you know who are truly happy. They are rarely the ones who are most focused on their own status or comfort. They are the ones who are active in their communities, the ones who show up for their families, and the ones who offer a helping hand without being asked. Connection is the antidote to the epidemic of loneliness that plagues our modern era. To be happy, you must be willing to be vulnerable. You must be willing to take off the mask of perfection and let people see the real, messy, authentic version of yourself. We spend so much energy trying to be liked that we forget to be known, and you cannot be happy if you are not known. Authentic connection requires the courage to say, "I am struggling," or "I need help," or "I love you." These are the bridges to happiness. Furthermore, we must understand the role of forgiveness in the pursuit of joy. You cannot run toward a happy future if you are still shackled to the ghosts of your past. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It consumes your energy, it sours your outlook, and it takes up the space in your heart that should be reserved for love. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened to you. It is about choosing to no longer be defined by it. It is a gift you give to yourself, a release from the prison of resentment. When you let go of the need to be right or the need for revenge, you reclaim your power. You decide that your peace of mind is more important than your pride. This extends to forgiving yourself as well. Many of us are haunted by the should-haves and could-haves, carrying the weight of past mistakes like a lead vest. But happiness requires you to make peace with your history. You did the best you could with the tools you had at the time. Today, you have new tools, new wisdom, and a new opportunity to choose a different path. The secret to happiness is to travel light, and that means dropping the heavy baggage of old grievances. Another vital element is the concept of flow, the state of being so deeply immersed in an activity that time seems to disappear. Happiness is not just a passive feeling. It is often the byproduct of engagement. Whether it is painting, coding, gardening, running, or teaching, finding your flow is essential. We are meant to create, to solve, and to grow. When we languish in boredom or mindless consumption, our spirits begin to wither. To be happy, you must find work or hobbies that challenge you and align with your values. It is in the stretching of our capabilities that we find a sense of mastery and purpose. Purpose is the North Star of happiness. Without a sense of why, the how of life becomes unbearable. Your purpose doesn't have to be a grand, world-changing mission. It can be as simple as being a present parent, a dedicated craftsman, or a reliable friend. It is the reason you get out of bed in the morning, the belief that your presence on this planet matters. When you align your daily actions with your deepest values, you experience a sense of integrity that is the bedrock of lasting joy. This integrity means that who you are on the inside matches who you are on the outside. There is no greater source of unhappiness than living a double life or pretending to be someone you are not to please others. Happiness is the freedom of being yourself. It is the bravery to live your truth, even if it's not the popular choice. As we navigate our relationships, we must also learn the art of selective listening. The world is full of noise, critics, and doubters who will tell you that you are too much or not enough. If you let their voices become your internal monologue, you will never find peace. You must surround yourself with people who fan your flames, not those who dampen them. Your environment, both physical and social, deeply impacts your emotional well-being. Happiness is contagious, but so is negativity. Choose your circle with intention. Seek out the radiators, not the drains. And as you build this life of connection and purpose, never forget the power of laughter. Laughter is the shortest distance between two people and the quickest way to break the tension of a difficult day. It is a reminder not to take life too seriously. We are all just travelers on this spinning blue marble, trying to figure it out as we go. When we can laugh at our own absurdities and find humor in our struggles, we take the power away from our problems. A sense of humor is a shield against the arrows of misfortune. It allows us to maintain our perspective and remember that even the darkest night will eventually give way to dawn. Happiness is a dance between the serious work of purpose and the lighthearted play of existence. It is knowing when to lean in and when to let go. It is the realization that while we cannot control the wind, we can always adjust our sails to catch the breeze of joy. As we move into the final understanding of what it means to live a truly vibrant and happy life, we must confront the most difficult truth of all. Happiness is not the absence of pain, but the mastery of how we respond to it. To be happy is to be resilient. We often have this mistaken belief that the happy people are the ones who have been spared by the storms of life, those who have never known heartbreak, loss, or failure. But the opposite is usually true. The happiest people are often those who have walked through the fire and learned how to find the light on the other side. They are the ones who have realized that while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. The final secret to happiness is the cultivation of a soul that is unbreakable, a heart that can bend without snapping. We must stop viewing obstacles as things that get in the way of our life and start seeing them as the very things that build the muscles of our character. True joy is found in the struggle for growth. It is the satisfaction of knowing that you did not give up when the world told you to, that you kept your kindness intact even when people were cruel, and that you maintained your hope even when the shadows were long. This kind of happiness is not a fragile emotion. It is a profound state of being. It is the result of choosing, over and over again, to be a person of substance. We must also recognize the vital importance of physical and mental harmony. We are not just floating minds, we are embodied beings. You cannot expect your spirit to soar if you are neglecting the vessel that carries it. Happiness is found in the discipline of movement, the nourishment of the body, and the sanctity of rest. There is a chemical reality to joy. The endorphins from a long walk, the clarity that comes from a good night's sleep, and the peace that follows a moment of stillness. We live in a culture that glorifies burnout and exhaustion, but there is no happiness in a life lived at a frantic, unsustainable pace. To be happy, you must reclaim your time. You must learn to slow down enough to actually taste your life. We are so busy racing toward the future that we treat the present as a mere obstacle to be overcome. But life is what happens while you are making other plans. The final secret is the art of being rather than doing. It is the ability to sit in silence and not feel the need to be productive. It is the courage to unplug from the constant stream of information and reconnect with the rhythm of the natural world. There is a deep, ancient happiness that comes from watching a sunset, walking through a forest, or listening to the rain. These things remind us that we are part of something vast and beautiful, and that our individual worries, while valid, are small in the grand tapestry of the universe. This brings us to the ultimate secret, the power of perspective. Your life is not what happens to you. It is the story you tell yourself about what happens to you. You are the narrator of your own existence. You can choose a story of victimhood and lack, or you can choose a story of adventure and growth. You can look at a closed door and see an ending, or you can see an invitation to find a new path. This is the radical freedom that no one can take away from you, the freedom to choose your attitude in any given set of circumstances. Happiness is the realization that you are the captain of your soul. It is the understanding that while you cannot control the cards you are dealt, you have absolute control over how you play the hand. We must also embrace the beauty of impermanence. Part of our unhappiness comes from trying to make the good moments last forever and trying to make the bad moments end instantly. But life is a series of seasons. Happiness is the wisdom to enjoy the summer while it lasts, and the faith to know that the spring will return after the coldest winter. When we stop clinging to things and people, we allow ourselves to flow with the current of life rather than fighting against it. There is a tremendous lightness that comes with letting go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the need for everyone to like you. Let go of the person you thought you were supposed to be so that you can become the person you actually are. As we reach the conclusion of this journey, remember that the secrets to happiness are not hidden in a vault or written in a language you cannot understand. They are written in the way you treat the person at the grocery store. They are written in the way you handle a Tuesday afternoon when nothing is going right. They are written in the quiet moments before you fall asleep, when you count your blessings instead of your burdens. Happiness is a practice. It is a habit. It is a muscle that you must exercise every single day. It is not something you find, it is something you create. It is the result of 1,000 small choices. The choice to be grateful, the choice to be kind, the choice to be present, and the choice to be brave. Do not wait for a better time to be happy. Do not wait for the kids to grow up, for the mortgage to be paid, or for the weekend to arrive. Be happy now. Not because life is perfect, but because you are alive, and that is a miracle in itself. You have within you a reservoir of joy that is deeper than any sorrow. You have a light within you that can illuminate even the darkest rooms. Go out into the world and be a beacon of that light. Show the world that happiness is not a luxury for the lucky few, but a birthright for anyone who is willing to claim it. The world does not need more successful people. It needs more happy people, more healers, more restorers, more storytellers, and more lovers. By choosing your own happiness, you are giving the rest of the world permission to do the same. You are contributing to the collective healing of humanity. So, take a deep breath, look around at the world with fresh eyes, and realize that you have everything you need to be happy right here, right now. The secret is out. The key to the kingdom has been in your hands all along. Now, go and unlock the door. Your life is waiting for you, and it is more beautiful than you ever imagined.